Howdy, folks. I'm Scoryth, the Crimson Renegade, and welcome to Borderlands. This is the I don't know if this is the first, but it's one of the first MMO, not MMO, FPS RPGs ever. This is one of the first ones I ever played, and really combines the action of a good first-person shooter with the RPG elements of pick an RPG. Final Fantasy, the Tales of series. You have the shooting aspects of something like Halo, and combined with the level up systems and the stat boosting system, stat gaining system, stat improvement systems of RPGs. So it's like, say you're a level 1 character, you go try to fight a level 10 fight a level 10 enemy, just like in any other RPG, and you're going to get slaughtered. Same thing here. You can't just go take a level 1, even if you've got a really good gun, go take a level 1 character to go fight a level 10 enemy, and you might damage it a little bit, but it'll probably one-shot you. So this is, I'll admit this actually wasn't, when I first saw the box art for this game, I wasn't actually interested in it. But I found out later it's actually it was a really good co-op game, and I played it later co-op and found it really, really fun. So I'm glad I did actually get into it. It's really good. You do get to play as one of 4 different classes, and I'll only be able to demonstrate one of these classes because this game is actually really, really long. It's several hours long. It's not like a regular 6-hour first-person shooter. No, this also takes on the RPG length of a time type game as well. So. This is a pretty long game, and this is I'm starting this game here because this is kind of like the first episode on the road to Borderlands 3. As of this recording, this is near the end of May, and Borderlands 3 is scheduled supposed to come out, supposed to release like a couple of weeks into September. I think it's September 13th, and despite what I said after I finished the Kingdom Hearts series, I said I would never do back-to-back games like that again. I decided I'm going to make an exception for Borderlands because there's really not as many. There's only like 4 games. 4 games I would have to play leading up to Borderlands 3. So and even though the games are long, they're very fun, to say the least, and it's not going to be as grinding, and there's not as many games in the Kingdom Hearts series. That's why I'm willing to make that exception just for Borderlands. So I don't really think I have anything else to say, but let's go ahead and get started here. We're gonna play a game. I'll describe each of the 4 classes that are available in the game, and then I'll tell you which one I'm going to play when they actually show up. So let's just go ahead and start the game here. We're going to do an intro video here. There's also some music attached to it a little bit later. I will be cutting out that music because, copyright reasons, but I can tell you...
Oh. You want to hear a story, huh? One about treasure hunters. Have I got a story for you? Pandora. This is our home, but make no mistake, this is not a planet of peace and love. They say it's a wasteland, that it's dangerous, that only a fool would search for something of value here. Then perhaps I am a fool. But do not be fooled by what Pandora appears to be. There was a legend. Many people tell it. The legend of the Vault. My father would always go on about the Vault, even with his dying breath. Advanced alien technology, infinite wealth, fame, power. Women. So you can understand why some little kiddos who hear the stories grow up to become vault hunters. Well, I have a story you may not believe, but I tell you it is true. The legend of the vault is real, and it is here on Pandora. And let's call it a guardian angel, appeared to guide the vault hunters to their prize. The tale begins right here on Pandora with the brave vault hunters, the guardian angel, and most importantly, me.
That me character is not really that important. I mean, you see him throughout the game, but he's not really that important. Okay, right here's where that song that I was telling you about is playing here. The song is called "No Rest for the Wicked" by Cage the Elephant. So if you guys want to, in case you're like the 30 people on this planet that probably has never heard it, you can go find it on YouTube. It's a really cool song, but of course, copyright reasons can't play it, so that's why the video is quiet here. 2K presents. It shouldn't have been in the road. A Gearbox software game. This guy here is the me that was talking earlier. Mordecai, the hunter. These are the 4 classes. Lilith, the siren. Roland, the soldier. And Brick as himself. Sorry, I'm enjoying the music that you can't hear. I'm sorry, it's really mean.
Next stop, Firestone Depot. Time to gather up your stuff. Who's getting off the bus? You with the sniper rifle and the crazy mask. You look like a Truxican wrestler moonlighting as a dominatrix, man. And you, soldier man. Are those armor pieces from the Crimson Lance you're wearing? And what's your story, young lady? What can you do? Perhaps you can bake us all a wonderful cake.
That's sexist.
And you, beefsteak in the back. I'm not gonna make fun of you. Your burps smell of blood, and you growl like a rabid animal. Anyway, I've got some advice for all of you. It's tough out there, and you won't be able to just beat up on whatever you please until you're ready. Sure, you can take from the bandits or find things in the wild, but equipment you buy from my stores are guaranteed. And if you die, you can't get your money back because you're dead. I kid. No need to be so serious here. And if you're looking for the vault, well, you're going to have your work cut out for you. So don't be afraid.
This guy
to
talked
spend
for a
what
bit,
it
so
takes
hang
to
on.
get the equipment you need. You listen to Marcos. I come
That's his
from
name, by the way.
7 generations of merchants, and I'm the best. Want to know why? Because I'm making it out here, in this place.
Alright, I think he finally shut up now. One thing I didn't mention is this version of Borderlands I'm playing. This is the PS4, or well, Xbox One version as well. But this is the I don't want to say remastered, but like it is sort of remastered Game of the Year edition of Borderlands 1. And when I say remastered, I mean it's the same. It's the same type of remastering that they did with Kingdom Hearts. The difference being, obviously, they were going from Kingdom Hearts from the PlayStation 2 era to a PlayStation 4 era, so they were upping the graphics by 2 whole generations. So it's going to be pretty obvious difference between Kingdom Hearts 2, between Kingdom Hearts on PS2 and Kingdom Hearts on the PS4. The difference here is Borderlands came out in the Xbox 360 and PS3 era, so upgrading it one more generation wasn't really that big of a change. So you're not really going to notice that big of a difference, But anyway. With that aside, here are the 4 classes that you can play. Each character has a different role. Just like many other RPGs, each character's role has advantages and disadvantages, or each character has different advantages and disadvantages. I promise I can speak. We're going to start out here with the soldier Roland, military trained killer, preferred weapons, combat rifles and shotguns, action skill, Scorpio turret. Now, the action skill To kind of give this game some comparison to kind of, in case you're unfamiliar with Borderlands, but you may be familiar with another game. I'm going to compare this game to Destiny just a little bit because, in its base sense, it's the same game type. As far as first-person shooter with RPG elements. Each character has a different action skill, and each of these action skills are essentially like their supers. If you want to compare to Destiny. It's a special ability that has to charge. Once it's charged, you can use it, and it does something special for the character. And only that character can use that specific ability. In this case, for the Scorpio turret, for the soldier here, he throws down a small turret. When I say small, it's probably about maybe, I don't know, leg height, knee height, and has a shield in front of it. There's a little barricade you can kind of hide behind and use as cover. It's a temporary cover. Because if it gets shot enough, the barricade will actually fall, even though the turret is still standing. But it literally is just an auto turret. You throw it down, it automatically attacks enemies that are in front of it. Advantages: you can hide behind it and use it as cover. Good thing. So in case you're in the middle of an open area and you got enemies coming at you, you don't have time to run to find cover. Throw the turret down, hide behind it, and use it as cover as you're firing back. And also, the turret is there to attack any enemies. Downside: it only attacks enemies that are directly in front of the turret. I don't mean like directly in front, but like in a cone in front of the turret. If you throw the turret down, the enemy runs past the turret and gets between you and the turret, just gets behind the turret. It won't be. It doesn't turn around and fire back behind it. It only fires in like a cone in front of it. Now, as you level up, and I'll show this off in the game as I level up. You get perks that you can put on not just your character and its abilities, but also the action skill that can actually improve the action skill in a way. Like, for example, for Roland here, you can give it an ability that when you throw down the Scorpio turret in a small area around it, you can actually get healed. All your allies, if you're playing a multiplayer game or playing co-op or playing by yourself, doesn't matter. Any allies within the range of the turret will actually get health regeneration while the turret is out. So that's kind of cool. And you can do things like increase its firepower or increase how much damage it deals, things of that sort. Now, the reason it says preferred weapons, combat rifles, and shotguns, each of these different classes here also get perks that improve specific weapon types. In the case of the soldier, again, it's combat rifles and shotguns. Now, while you don't have to play the game with combat rifles and shotguns as a soldier, it's kind of recommended because, again, his perks usually boost those abilities the best. I'll get into the some more basic descriptions of these as I go through each one of these. So let me just go on to the next one. We'll go to Mordecai the Hunter, the Trexican wrestler that gave Marcus the finger earlier. This is master of weapon of long-range combat, preferred weapons, sniper rifles, and revolvers. Makes sense, right? He's a sniper. Action skill, Bloodwing. He's a sniper. He's the long-range fighter of the group. He prefers, obviously, sniper rifles because it makes sense. He's the hunter. He's the long-range guy. So most of his perks boost sniper rifles and revolver-type weapons. And his action skill is Bloodwing. Now, what Bloodwing is a bird that he can kind of summons, and he'll just point, and it'll fly away from him and attack an enemy. And do either damage or kill. It usually does a lot of damage. It's actually a very good skill, and then come back. It only attacks one enemy at the start, but you can again, some of his perks, you can actually gain perks as you level up Mordecai to gain more attack power for Bloodwing, attack more than one enemy with Bloodwing. If Bloodwing kills an enemy, the enemy will drop more loot. By the way, it's another thing in this game is it's a very loot-based game, so weapons and items and ammo are plentiful. Lots and lots of loot in this game. So Bloodwing can potentially do that as well. Kill an enemy, and they'll drop more money or more weapons or something than he normally would have. It's not a bad thing. Or it's not bad at all. But none of the characters' abilities are bad. Bloodwing is actually one of my favorites as far as the four here. It's like the top two. I mean, he's only got 4 options here. How do you not have a favorite out of 4 of them, right? But he's in my top 2 in my opinion as far as his action skills. But I'm not going to be playing as him. We're going to go over to Lilith here. Uses deception and trickery. She is a siren. Preferred weapons, incendiary, shock, and corrosive guns. Action skill, phase walk. Preferred weapons in this case, it doesn't actually have to be a weapon type, like as opposed to Mordecai with snipers and revolvers and combat rifles and shotguns with the soldier. It doesn't really matter what weapon type you use, whether it's a rocket launcher, SMG, doesn't matter. But she prefers incendiary, shock, and corrosive weapons, and those are 3 of the 4 elements that are available in this game. Again, just like RPGs, this game does have elements like fire, ice, lightning, that kind of thing. The elements here are incendiary, which is fire, shock, which is electric, corrosive, which is essentially kind of like acid, not really poison, but more like just like acid. I mean, corrosive makes sense, right? And the 4th one is called explosive. And her perks boost the effectiveness and the likeliness of status afflictions from these elemental weapons. So, say incendiary, when you shoot an enemy with an incendiary weapon, there's a chance you could light them on fire, and they'll do more damage over time because they're on fire, right? Well, there's obviously stat checks and stuff that you have to go through, and with the perks that Lilith has, can increase the likeliness of you shooting an enemy with a elemental weapon, and whatever status affliction that inflicts will increase the likeliness of that sticking. So, shooting it with a fire weapon, likely more can catch them on fire. Shock weapons, which do more damage to shields than unshielded enemies, and so forth. More likely that the shock will stick and actually do additional damage to shields and stuff, so on and so forth. Her action skill, phase walk, is not so much an attack skill as so much as, in my opinion, like a concealant and getaway skill. What it does is when her phase walk is charged, and you use the action skill button, she goes invisible. The enemies can't see her. At least I don't think any enemy can see her at all. I don't think there's like a stealth check meter that they have to go through, anything like that. She becomes completely invisible, and no enemies can hit her at all, or can see her and shoot. I don't think shoot her direction they could hit her, but she isn't completely invisible. And her movement speed is drastically increased, so she can move from point to point really fast. The advantage of this is if you're in a gunfight, you find yourself overwhelmed, you can activate phase walk, disappear, run away, and find some cover in order to give you time to recharge your health, or to recharge your shields, get health packs, whatever. Some more perks that she has for her phase walk is when she comes out of phase walk, she emits a burst of elemental energy, usually one of the elements that you can put on your abilities, which everybody can do. But with Lilith's, you put an elemental artifact on your action skill. When she comes out of that action skill, she actually bursts that element around her. And if she's near enemies when she emits that burst, it could actually inflict that status affliction on any enemy. So, again, using the incendiary example, let's say she's got an incendiary artifact on her action skill, which I'll show all this in detail once I get in the game. So if this is too much for you to understand, don't worry, I'll explain it better later. But let's say she's got an incendiary artifact on her phase walk. She runs up to groups of enemies while she's in phase walk. When phase walk expires and she comes out of it, she emits a burst of incendiary elemental energy, and any enemies that are nearby could actually end up being lit on fire and take fire damage. So that's really nice. That's really nice. Also, as far as there's not really like what I like to call the MMO Trinity. You got healer, you got tanker, and like mage. That's usually what I like to call the Trinity. Usually each MMO kind of has those 3 types as a base. I mean, there's different subtypes, obviously. But for the most part, every character is either a tank, either a healer, or a damage dealer / mage, something like that. Even though there's not really that kind of trinity doesn't really fit these 4 characters, Lilith is probably the closest to being a healer. She gets a lot of perks that actually can heal and heal allies with her abilities as well. And again, like I said, that whole trinity doesn't fit here because again. Roland can put down a turret that if your allies are close to the turret can actually heal them. So just because Lilith is the closest to a healer, that doesn't mean that Roland isn't, because Roland can be as well because of his turret. And to the final character, which is the one that I'm going to be, I'm playing as Big Brick, playing as himself, or I should say Scoryth as Brick as himself. Whatever you want to call it. This guy is called, his class is called the Berserker, but his name is Brick. Ignores pain and hits hard. Preferred weapons, explosive weapons, and his fists. Action skill, Berserk. As I said with Lilith, while there's not really the MMO Trinity doesn't, or the MMO RPG Trinity doesn't really fit these characters very well. Brick is the closest to being a tank class, in my opinion. He gets abilities that boost his HP by a lot. He boosts his health by a lot. He gets abilities that will boost his shields, obviously, increase his melee damage, among other things. Now you see his preferred weapons, his explosives, and his fists. Explosive weapons, again, explosives is the fourth element that I mentioned. So he's got perks that boost explosive damage, so rocket launchers, grenades, or any kind of weapon that uses. So there's even regular like small arms, like you say a machine gun or something like that, can still have explosive ammo. He has perks that can boost the effectiveness of explosive ammo, or explosive weapons in general. And he gains, like I said, melee damage. His action skill is Berserk. And what that does, when you trigger Berserk, he puts away any of his range weapons, puts up his fists, and he literally... It's not too much different from Doom in that matter. You just go in there, you just start punching the shit out of every enemy you can find, probably most of the time dealing more damage than any gun could. So, while I'll be honest, I mean, when this game first came out, I mean, all these four classes are really, really good. In comparison to the future games, these four classes honestly kind of suck. They really do. But I'll just go into all that. I just want to throw that opinion out there real quick. But I'm going to go with Brick here because I like the melee abilities. The Berserk action skill. Of these four, it is the most useful to me, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't care much for the phase walk of Lilith, just because it's just not really my style of play. And her perks don't really fit my style of play either. Sorry, I didn't mean to the mic. Her perks don't really fit my style of play either. Probably my other choice would probably be Roland, if I wasn't going to go with Brick. My problem with Roland's action skill, as I mentioned, is his turret only shoots enemies that are in like a cone in front of the turret. So if you throw the turret down and the enemy runs to the side or runs around it or runs past it, the turret is useless. So, and because I play tested this before, I mean, I've played this game before overall, so it's not going to be like a full blind play, but I don't remember every mission that I do here very well, so it's mostly going to be sort of a blind play. It's going to be mostly the bosses that I remember. But when I did play this game before, I did have that issue with Roland. I'd throw the turret down, and the enemy would just like run past it, and be like, well, what's the fucking point? So, and I like Mordecai's action skill as well, the Bloodwing, because it's you look toward an enemy and you cast Bloodwing essentially. Bloodwing goes out, even if you don't actually like lock on to an enemy. If there's any enemies nearby, the Bloodwing will attack it automatically. My problem with that is his perks, mostly Mordecai's perks, not mostly, but as far as weapons go, mostly affect sniper rifles in this game, and this game has issues with sniper rifles. Maybe it's just me, but sniper rifles honestly suck bad in this game. They are terrible with their accuracy. You would think they'd be the most accurate weapons, but they're not. You can look at an enemy, put the reticle right over their head, pull the trigger, and 3 out of 4 times you're going to miss. That's how bad, at least again with my experience, that's how bad sniper rifles are in this game. So just for his fact that he only uses sniper rifles, that is his downfall for me. It's the one reason why I'm not using Mordecai. So as far as the supers go, as far as their action skills go, and overall abilities, Brick is what I'm going to go with, and that's why. Because when I'm going to be playing solo, I'm going to be playing co-op. I'm not going to be playing matchmaking where I'm going to have people join me, or I'm not going to join anybody else, anything like that. I'll be playing this game completely solo, so I kind of need the extra HP and stuff. Again, not that this game is hard, but just playing, it's easier with co-op. So playing solo is a little bit difficult, or it can be difficult. I am going to die a lot, no question about it, but I want as much help as possible. So, with enough blabbering out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with Borderlands and Brick.